It's time to gather around the radio for another episode of ComicChurch, hosted by Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro, the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay, and the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. Broadcasting live from the K-Talk Studios, KBJA 1640 AM, and streaming live with video on Facebook. And now, ComicChurch.
Good morning. How y'all?
Good morning.
Hello.
It's Valentine's week,
It is.
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, for those that like that kind of stuff. Or
For those that are into that kind of stuff, and we support you. You're welcome here.
It's a celebration of love.
It is.
if you have to have a day for it.
That's right. If you have to have a day for it, it's a marketing. It's. I mean, we get into it. Let's face it. I mean, we talk about this on the show all the time. It is a marketing creation created by the brands that need to make money off of a made up holiday around love.
Yeah, it's one of those Hallmark created days.
That makes everyone feel guilty, and that they have to live up to a unobtainable narrative of what they think love should be like, and of course, it's not. It's not like that.
If you have to have a day to express yourself on how you love someone, then you're doing it all wrong. There shouldn't have to be a specific day for it. You should have to wake up every morning and love to do it.
But it's fun, and it's also my half birthday. So.
Oh, it's your half birthday.
Yeah, it's my half birthday if you celebrate those types of things. I think we should create a marketing creation around my half birthday. I'm all for that.
But what is a half birthday? Like, that's like you could
Alice
celebrate.
in Wonderland. You need a tea party and all sorts of stuff, man.
Oh, yes.
And
I'm doing a radio show on Thursday, so we can...
we need to get with Hallmark and create half birthday cards.
Oh, I'm in.
Hey, we marketed that. Whoever takes that idea.
TM ComicChurch.
Happy ComicChurch half birthdays.
But like half birthdays, though, it's not really significant. Like, whereas like the date of your conception, celebrating 9 months out from your birthday, like that's
almost a half birthday.
9 months out from August 14th, that would be December 14th. So Christmas for me, probably.
Yeah. Someone unwrapped you as a present.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. So did you guys see the new trailers for both Endgame Avengers and also Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel has a great one out there. This is the point where I almost want to stop watching the trailers because look at the first Avengers trailer, Infinity War, when everyone's like, "Oh, Hulk's coming out of the Wakanda forest line and everything." That wasn't in the movie.
No.
But it is one of my thoughts, this is my opinion. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Have you heard that they did, on the trailer that came out, they digitally removed somebody from a couple of the scenes?
Oh, Captain Marvel.
That's one suggestion.
That's one of my, because, where is she in the trailers? And she's got to be a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
One of my theories is that she's going to be the one that, finds Tony Stark and Nebula floating, in space and bring them back to Earth.
Or
fascinating.
Or Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, but he's not in space. I mean, he is in the space-time continuum, so he's in a different timeline in space. But she's coming from space.
Yeah.
She's just got a page. Hey, 1980s, 1990s. I got a page from Sam Jackson saying I need to get down here.
I missed the pagers of the 90s. I had a pager.
My dad did. I thought it was the coolest thing. I always wanted one.
I didn't have a cell phone for so long. I had a pager though, and I had all sorts of the girls I would date. I had all sorts of codes that, like, if they had to get in touch with me, they'd send 911 on with their phone number. It's like star 911 on top just to make sure that you have to call. And it was a lot of fun. I had another friend that he was a in high school, he was a volunteer paramedic, and I'm getting this way off topic, but he was the one kid in school that was able to have a pager on him in school. I thought that was so cool. It actually got me into volunteering for the Red Cross and a bunch of other things as a result of me being able to wanting to have that pager while I was in school.
Yeah, I guess I did have a pager when I did fires and stuff. But supposedly, a rumor that I've kind of looked into is the pager might make its way into the movie.
Oh,
it would make sense as to kind of be like people that can't put two and two together would be like, oh my gosh, that's a thing that Nick Fury had at the end of the Avengers. So, I kind of see
his
that
quantum
coming.
pager.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, what do we got? Like 15, 20 days left till Captain Marvel comes out on the 8th of March.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
time is flying by very quick this year. Like January went so freaking slow, and then we hit February, and it's like hit the gas.
Yeah. Which the first of the years are usually the ones that drag on, but I mean, we have enough to look forward to. With Captain Marvel. I'm even looking forward to Shazam. Like pretty looking forward to that. And
I grew up with that.
He was one of my favorite DC. I mean, because I always thought, man, if a kid could get a wish and be Superman, that was what he wished, and have the powers of Superman.
It was the dream of every kid growing up.
Man.
I mean, for me, I watched the cartoons growing up.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the first Marvel cartoons that I watched. I think I watched Spider-Man after Shazam, and I remember. I mean, it was that time I had a dream of becoming Superman, and I remember visiting Niagara Falls and the kid who jumps off the side. I'm getting worried I'm gonna like fall off the side of Niagara Falls, all because I wanted to be Superman, and it was really cool. I never jumped off of the side thinking I was Superman, though.
No, those were in the movies. No, yeah, I mean, because that was every kid's wish, and he actually got it fulfilled. I want to be Superman. He loved Superman so much, and some of the trailers that I've seen of that one are pretty cool because, it shows in the background of his room and things like that he's a fanboy. He loves it. He, loves Batman, loves Superman, and everything like that. And so. Those are pretty good. I mean, we have a lot of really awesome superhero movies at the beginning of the year to look forward to, and then on top of it, I mean, one of the probably most anticipated ones since Infinity War is Endgame. And
currently, right now, the director has been able to cut it down from 4 hours to 3.
To 3 hours, yeah. And they're going to keep with 3 hours is what it's looking like. They
should just keep the 4 and just do an intermission in the middle.
I'd pay for
people would stay.
I'd pay for the director's cut of a 4 hour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Please, if you're listening to this, director's cut of the DVD release, I will love a 4 hours.
Yeah, or release it later on screen with 4 hours, and then do another release on DVD with additional features on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff right now. I mean, even look at Black Panther right now. Just got nominated Best Picture.
Yeah.
And for that, AMC movie theaters, we don't have a lot in the Valley. They are, if you contact them, they have specific screenings of Black Panther for free.
Oh, nice.
Where they want everybody to see this movie. Those that have not seen it, hey, they're doing special screenings at AMC theaters for free Black Panther. I mean, to go, I'll go watch it again on big screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved that movie. But, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on here right now with the comic books and everything like that. So we are a privileged time right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Disney.
Oh, yeah. At first, I was like, dang it, they're going to ruin it. But I think that's been one of the best things that's happened.
And we've got new Star Wars coming in later this year. We got Star Wars Land at Disneyland coming up.
We need to get. We've been talking about that. We need to get. We're going to try to take ComicChurch down to good old my home stomping grounds, Anaheim, California, and give you guys a radio preview of the new
it's
Star
my home
Wars
away
Land,
from home too, so I'm kind of excited.
Hopefully, we can do some video clips and stuff like that, and just do some reviews and everything like that. hopefully there's a better ride. My favorite is just Star Tours still. I mean, I will go on a loop of that. I'll get off and go right back on it.
Well, they're saying there's going to be a ride. How long did they say it was going to be? It was a really long ride.
Well, not the ride, but the whole, Disneyland. They make it, even the line is part of the
but there was actually a ride in Star Wars Land, whatever they're calling it. There's a name for it, and I'll get it right at some point here. Whenever they host us, I'll start saying it right.
Yeah,
But there's, I read the other day, and I'll find it. But I read the other day there's a ride that's like it's like half an hour long ride something like that. It was a really long ride.
Yeah.
The line's gonna be.
I think part of that though does incorporate getting onto the ride.
Maybe
so it's the whole experience.
Yeah.
Look at like Star Tours and everything like that. Getting in there and getting in line, and there's C-3PO talking to you and everything like that.
Or even California Adventure, soaring over California. That's the great thing about Disneyland is even in line, it's still the experience. Indiana Jones is another.
Yeah, well,
example
look
of
at the new one, Escape from the. Oh goodness, Guardians Breakout.
I haven't seen that one.
That one is really cool, and there are Easter eggs in line.
Yeah, but they sacrifice
Tower of Terror.
For that.
But I'm okay with it because I did. I gotta take it this year. I went and I just
haven't been yet.
I'm going. I need to go. I hadn't been in a couple years, and my kids kept telling me, "Oh, it was one of my daughter's favorite. It was the Breakout." And so
but
I went
at the expense of the Twilight Zone. Like that was an experience too.
It was. It totally was. But this is a whole new experience, and it's fun, and it's fun how they did it. I mean, I'm walking in line waiting to go on the ride and everything like that, and you're walking through the collector's museum, his collection and everything. And there's even an Easter egg, the Abomination from Thunder Mountain. Is it Thunder Mountain? Which one has the Abomination? I don't know if we ever get sponsored by this. The Abominable Snowman.
That's Matterhorn.
Yeah. He's in there somewhere, and part of the collector's collection.
Nice.
You know how he has all the he's in there somewhere.
Was Howard the Duck in the collection though?
Well, when we get a go, I can point these things out to you.
Yeah.
Maybe Cosmo the dog and everything like that.
That's
I mean,
awesome. Howard the Duck was
Stormbreaker.
my favorite part of the movie. That it was in his collection.
Yeah. And he, even made a little bit appearance in the second one too.
I have two ducks, and one of them died. I named Howard and Gertrude. Howard actually died, but I'm going to get another Howard here soon.
Man, I remember that show when I was a little kid. That alien monster at the end kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
Oh, by far.
As a kid, it was fun.
I mean, and let's go and kind of touch into relationship with that, with Howard the Duck and I can't remember the actress Gertrude.
I just know because I named my ducks after him.
That's kind of a different relationship, and that's kind of where we kind of want to go with this whole conversation today, is some of these relationships and stuff. But that one right there just popped into my head because Howard the Duck and Gertrude kind of had a thing in the movie, and he's a duck. She's a human, but that's some of the weird types of relationships that come out of comic books.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're gonna get into that. You have your book open, you have all of your notes, and we're gonna be getting into all the different comic book lores, different relationships, the healthy ones, the unhealthy ones.
Yeah.
What they did, how they benefited or hurt the heroes. So we're going to get into that and so much more, and probably whatever pops into our minds. So you're listening
What else is possible?
What else is possible? You're listening to Comic Church on K-Talk AM 1640, real, local, two-way talk. And we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Really?
When the fake news stations are slick as ice this winter, cut through with K-Talk Media, your favorite local talk station.
When a challenge rises up, do we let it stand in our way or go the distance to overcome it? I didn't want to stay at the bottom, but after I was shot in Afghanistan, I was told I'd never walk again, if I even survived. My wife and healthcare providers were there to help me climb my hill. I learned that psychological care is key to recovery from both physical and invisible wounds. Decide now that I will take the first step. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
The weekend is coming, and you need to plan a date night. You could go to a movie and dinner, but there's nothing original about that. Here's a new and exciting idea. Take your date indoor shooting at the Armory Gun Range. Instead of renting a bowling lane or playing miniature golf,
yay,
you can rent a shooting lane at the Armory Gun Range. Impress your spouse or your date with your original plan. The Armory can provide both guns and ammo, and rookies are welcome.
I would be excited if my boyfriend took me shooting. The Armory is located in Sandy at 9210 South and 248 West. The phone number is 801-447-1789. Again, that is 801-447-1789. You can also check out their website at armoryshootingrange.com. The range is open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
The Armory Gun Range, blowing holes in boring date nights.
Hi, I'm Gary Sinise. Our veterans put everything on the line to protect our freedom. We may never be able to repay them for their sacrifice, but we can show them just how much we appreciate all they've done. Please visit www.volunteer.va.gov.
AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. No limits, no labels. Aging is changing. Visit aarp.org/UT for more information. Make the most of each day with AARP.
The Kubota L2501 tractor is one of the best-selling compact tractors in America for a reason. They're comfortable, spacious, easy to control, and have a range of performance-matched implements to tackle all kinds of jobs. Right now, get a Kubota L2501 with a 6-year warranty, plus 0% APR financing for up to 60 months, or great customer instant rebates. Now through December 31st, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Find a Kubota dealer near you at GoKubota.com.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to ComicChurch, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
So yeah, where should we start? We're talking love.
Love. I think we need a little Barry White right here.
We would, but Universal will probably mute us and cut off our live stream midstream.
Barry White. I think I grew up with some Casey and JoJo.
I could sing some.
Some Boys to Men.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not Boys to Men, but have you guys been watching The Masked Singer?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
I did last night for the first time.
I guess
so
all right
questions.
except Ricky Lake. Ricky Lake and the Raven. That was the
really
my, one question. I wasn't sure.
Oh, the first minute that she started singing, being a kid of the '90s, go Ricky, go. I know her voice.
Yeah.
You know that
I
voice.
see it. Yep.
Now I do and everything like that. But at the time I was like, what? Because I had no idea. Yeah. It was the first time I'd seen it.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
But I was asking the person I was with the whole time. I'm like, what is this? Okay, who's this? And what? Do they have to all be singers? Do they have to be? So I had no idea. And it's like, how out of everybody do you think of? Oh, that's Ricky Lake, or oh, that's what was the one last? There was Donny Osmond kept
Margaret Cho was unmasked the week prior. Yeah. But yeah, so for those that haven't seen it, The Masked Singer, it's based off a show that was in Japan, I believe, first.
Yeah.
Where they get a celebrity and they don them out in these outfits and these masks that are pretty amazing. You have no clue who they are.
They don't know who each other is either, is from my understanding.
Yes, I wonder about that to some degree, but yeah, so they're a mask, and they give clues, they disguise their voice, and the people sing, and they have to guess who it is. Mm-hmm. And so they're halfway through, so some people have already been guessed, but there's 2 Utah celebrities that Jesse and I are pretty sure on there. Both 100%. Donny Osmond and Ms. Gladys Knight.
Yeah.
Well, Donny, they want him. It sounded like the Peacock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed the hair thing last night.
Yeah.
And we kind of came to the guess of, okay, he wore that hairpiece in
Joseph and the
Technicolor.
Yep.
And
I shared the video on my
also
personal
his peacock
timeline
with a coat of many colors.
Yeah.
And his background in many colors.
Okay, that kind of makes sense because when he was doing the Matador thing, it looked like the one side was all sparkles and the other side was the rainbow flag.
Rainbow flag. They're saying that's because
the coat of many colors.
Well, it's that, and he's come out recently being pro gay in public.
Well, he's got
is what some people are saying.
there is an Osmond in the line that has
Drew is cringing.
Quite a few. Quite a few Osmonds have come out of the closet the last decade.
Yeah.
So and bless and yeah, they're anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, Donny Osmond, Gladys Knight.
Either that or addicted to porn. No offense, I just got myself in trouble on that one.
And then the monster. Actually, we came up with a pretty good idea who it might be.
That's who I couldn't figure that one out. He was pretty good though. I like that one.
Yeah.
Which one? Do you have a guess?
The monster.
The monster. Oh yeah, that one. Do you want me to say?
Yeah.
So spoiler alert. That one is T-Pain.
Really?
Yeah.
I
guarantee it's
T-Pain. Okay. Was he a sports announcer or what?
There's the jail. There's he's got a voice. I mean, T-Pain actually can sing.
Yeah.
He's not always. I mean, he was known for his style.
I'm thinking Wayne Brady.
It's possible.
That was my guess, is Wayne Brady.
I really think it's T-Pain, though. I think with all the hints they've given, it matches
last
T-Pain
night
really well. Go through all the hints.
Yeah,
I'd have to go through and we could compare it.
It was a sportscaster's headset.
That probably has some hidden meaning.
I don't know.
My guess.
Okay, so who do you guys think the rabbit is?
Oh, I didn't see. So
the rabbits.
That's what I was asking them. I'm like, who are these other ones?
That one is confusing people, but I think
I'm
it's
putting
what's
money
his
on
name?
Joey Fatone.
Yeah, I'm in on Joey Fatone. Yep.
And a few of the clues with
the magic is
and also the cooking.
He does magic.
So he had a cooking show.
I
remember
Joey
this because
I've met him before too.
Yeah. So when KSL stopped playing Saturday Night Live during those few years, where it's like, oh, we're going to take a moral stand and not play comedy, they replaced it with reruns from his cooking show. So I know that Joey Fatone had a cooking show because KSL used that instead of Saturday Night Live for a couple years.
That's cool. Wow. Yeah. That makes sense. I've met him. I don't think he did any magic when I met him. Somewhere I was trying to find a picture. There's somewhere out there. There's a picture of me and him together. I couldn't find it, but I was going through and I've met three. Somewhat. I mean, indirectly four. I met Gladys Knight. I consider her and her family good friends because I help out with their Saints Unified Voices and in doing lights and film for some of what they do that she directs. And she doesn't like to take credit for that, so I have to be careful giving her too much credit. She really likes the choir having the limelight, and it's a beautiful choir. And then Donny Osmond. Everyone in Utah's met Donny Osmond at some point.
Yes, I have.
He called me Jar Jar at one point. He was the advisor of One Great. He was a investor in One Great Family, and he'd come by, and I was their webmaster at one point, and I had Jar Jar Binks on my monitor because I actually kind of like Jar Jar, and
you're weird like that.
He gave me the nickname Jar Jar, so that was my nickname, and assigned to me by Donny Osmond. And then Chong from Cheech and Chong. What's his? Danny Chong. Yeah. Danny Chong is the representative for an old client of mine. Well, we kind of go back and forth and doing things together, but it's I think it's called Cannabis TV. I hope I'm getting it right.
Makes sense.
It's CCTV is what they call it, and they do they have a whole TV show or TV network that they have different shows that they show in the different cannabis dispensaries.
Okay.
They'll be in Utah when Utah has dispensaries, and he's kind of their token
if Utah has a
celebrity representing them, and I came across him through that, so that came really easy too. But I'm just name dropping here is really what I'm doing.
You are, but that's all right. We love you for your name drop.
Yeah.
Speaking of spoiler alerts, before we get into the love,
maybe.
Have you guys seen Russian Doll yet on Netflix?
Russian Doll.
I've looked into. I haven't seen it yet though.
You guys need to watch it, and I think we should spend some time. So we'll give a preview spoiler alert for Comic.Church 2 weeks out.
Okay.
I think we're going to spend some time talking Russian Doll and multiple timeline theories.
Yeah, I had heard once that it was just Groundhog Day done in a much weirder way, but it sounds like it's, from what you were saying, really...
To use Groundhog Day as the
There's so
the
many
example
movies that are doing
is
that.
so bad because it's not a Groundhog Day. And the less you know about it going into it, the more you're going to enjoy it. I guess the only spoiler I'm going to give, it's not Groundhog Day, but we are dealing with multiple timelines, parallel realities.
Wow.
Okay. You got me.
So go watch that for our Comic.Church listeners.
Russian Doll.
All four of you. Russian Doll on Netflix. It's a brand new series. If you, Amy Poehler is one of the executive producers, and then also if you like Orange is the New Black, you'll recognize a lot of
Natasha,
reoccurring cast members from Orange is the New Black.
Leone, Elizabeth.
Why
Ashley.
is that?
Friends work with
maybe
friends.
Orange is the New Black.
I'm producing a new show. You guys, we're finishing up.
Or maybe Orange is the New Black is just one of the realities from Russian Doll.
They probably have the same casting, people. Because look at
same producers.
Look at Game of Thrones and then Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's so many people that were in Game of Thrones that are in a lot of the Star Wars because it's the same casting producers.
I'm just going to assume that Orange is the New Black is in the same universe as Russian Doll.
Also, another example that is Star Trek versus the Orville. They're all produced by the same people, and it's all the same circle of friends. So all the Star Trek families over on the Orville, and same thing over
parallel universes.
Oh, that'd be funny because they could be like, "Oh man, we wanted to do this, but it wasn't serious enough. I mean, it's too jokey. So you guys can do it on the Orville." That shows it's pretty good. It's if you like Star Trek and everything like that. Yeah, I need to catch back up because there's too many shows.
There are.
Yeah.
There are way too many
Netflix
shows right
has
now.
brought out so much with Netflix and Hulu and HBO.
But that's the great thing about having it on demand is you watch it when you want. It's like
you just pick and choose.
The Star Trek, they moved their time slot to be the exact same time slot that Discovery or the Orville's on. It's like, why are you guys competing? Like, I'm not even watching you live, so I'm going to watch it when I want.
And there's so many apps and everything. I just another show that I really loved, and it's kind of through the X-Men universe. It's called Legion.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be the third season. Is going to be the last season.
Yes, I've only got through season 1.
Oh my gosh.
So I have to dive
It's
back
a
into
mind
it.
trip, man.
Wow.
And through it, you're trying to figure it out, but then you realize that
So imagine
it's Professor Xavier's son.
So let's go through. Imagine going your whole life thinking you're mentally ill, that you have schizophrenia, that you're just crazy, but then realizing you're not crazy. You just have basically the powers to control reality around you with your head, with your mind.
Cool.
And so he'd gone his whole life with the complex thinking he's just crazy. He's just got schizophrenia, but he's the most powerful mutant inhuman there is in the universe.
He is one of the top 3 most powerful mental, mind-altering mutants out there.
And it's set in this 70s retro.
Oh my gosh.
It's really cool.
Is he mind-altering, though, or is he just adjusting
you don't
reality
know.
to his
You
own
don't
reality?
You don't know, and that's the trippy part about it is because
you feel crazy.
There's an episode.
Along with
There's an episode you watch, and then you're like, okay, this was all normal, and then something happens. You're like, wait a minute, that was all in somebody else's mind that he was in, and he's control. And
that's
you're like,
what reality
what
is,
in
though.
the
Is we
world?
all live our own realities, and he's got his own reality that he's able to completely alter. He's just mastered that. How cool is that?
Yeah. So it's on Hulu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I just
Legion is on Hulu.
I can't say that I download them, but somehow I watch them through my phone
with secret post-military government service technology.
Yeah, and then I just download them and watch them later on. But no, I have them. I let you borrow them. Wow. I bought the DVD. If I like them enough, I'll go and watch it. But that kind of wanted to, I don't know, that somehow tied it into, with superheroes and their kids and the relationships, it goes into like their kids.
Yeah.
And that goes into, relationships can affect your kids and who you upbring in the world and everything like that. And Professor X is a great example. And that was one of the ones I didn't even really think about. Well, with Moyer McTaggart and everything like that, is he has one of the most powerful children out there. And he's really not talked about in the X-Men a lot. And it's cool. There's a cameo. There's a little Easter egg in there where it shows the wheel of his wheelchair.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like, that's Professor X's wheelchair.
Yeah. That's cool.
And there's a lot of talk and stuff like that, and they throw names around and stuff occasionally. But I mean, it's a trip. It's a good movie. But yeah, that's one thing I kind of wrote down and wanted to touch on. Maybe we can talk about here in a little bit is relationships, and then just the outcome of some of them and their children, and how messed up some of these children are, or how some of these children can actually be great assets, from here on out, and help, the world and everything like that. And so there's even some that people don't know about, hope maybe, that are some of these, kids that come back and they're huge, heroes. And one of them was just in a blockbuster movie last year.
Wow. Which one?
Deadpool.
Oh.
It's not Deadpool, but, there was somebody in Deadpool. Not a lot of people know. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you don't know. But there was a character in Deadpool that is a major X-Men's relationships
love child.
Ooh.
Yeah. In the Deadpool 2.
X-Men crotch fruit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, huge X-Men characters too. Like you know these characters, and you'd be like, those are like, when you say X-Men, these are some of the names that people think of as an X-Men.
Yeah. Was it one of the team that everyone died, but but one I'm horrible with names, but one that was it the one that has was it Lady Luck? What's her name?
Oh, Domino.
Domino, was it Domino?
No, it was not Domino.
Interesting.
Well, but it's like one of the big characters in the movie. But yeah. Those are just some of the things. I mean, and
Wasn't Juggernaut, was it?
No, that'd be cool. But
yeah,
I have some other love interests of Juggernaut and stuff like that as well that we could talk about here shortly. But I'm probably going to break here in a second.
Yeah, so we're headed here to break. Heather Roberts says, "Hi, Jesse."
Hey, Heather, how are ya?
Heather, thanks for commenting on Facebook.
Heather's a dear friend.
If anyone want to send us messages as we're doing the show, comment section is a perfect place to do that. But yeah,
let's see if anybody out there knows who this Deadpool 2 character is that is a love child of the X-Men.
Yeah, so if you know who Sean's talking about, put it right there in the comment section. But yeah, we're talking both love interests and I guess love children of our hero characters through comic books. So, you what?
I said sweet.
Sweet.
So sweet. Sweet Christmas.
So it's a Valentine's Day episode here at ComicChurch, and we're talking love with only one guy that's in a relationship and two guys that hate love. So we'll be back right after this quick commercial break right here on K-Talk.
Hey there, comic book fans and believers in all things geekdom. This is Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro, and I just want to let you know that all of us here at ComicChurch are working hard to build a place that we can all come to, a place of refuge, a place to be edified by the universes that inspire us the most. And this show, it's just the launching off point. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast, Church, using your favorite podcasting service. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. Also, please like our Facebook page, Church on K-Talk. On our page, you'll have a chance to interact with us live each Sunday. Plus, you'll have a chance to hear from us as we post our thoughts, inspirational somethings, and whatnots all throughout the week. We have so much in store for 2019 and into the future, and we invite you to come along and be a part of it. We at ComicChurch know exactly how important fans are, and we thank you for taking a chance and being our fans.
Military life is rewarding, but it isn't always easy.
Managing the stress can affect even the strongest warrior.
But I will stay mission ready.
I will keep my mind and body fit.
Talk to my chaplain.
Seek care early.
Strive for progress, not perfection.
I got this.
I got this.
Take the first step.
There's no better time than now.
Reaching out is a sign of strength. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
You're listening to the all-new K-Talk Media, KBJA 1640 AM, Sandy, Salt Lake, and the entire Wasatch Front, bringing you live, local, two-way talk.
The essence of sales is transferring enthusiasm to the customer. K-Talk Media is looking for people who have an unabashed enthusiasm for live local radio and who would love to share the message of our station with businesses who would like to tap into our large, loyal audience. Do you want a fun, energetic, and rewarding position with a company that makes a difference? Then join our team and feel the love. Full, part-time, or anytime positions available with great compensation. Call us today, 801-253-4883, 801-253-4883, or go to ktalkmedia.com and shoot us a message.
Stay away from religious topics, not here on K-Talk. Listen each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. to The Interpreter Show for fascinating religious discussions, hot debates, and the latest in religious scholarship, archaeology, and ancient documents. Whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, agnostic, and atheist, or something else, you'll want to listen to The Interpreter Show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. here on K-Talk. You gotta hear it.
I am a veteran. I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory was finding the help I needed. Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
When it's cold outside, warm up with the hottest live local two-way talk. K-Talk Media, 1640 AM.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to ComicChurch, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Welcome back.
That's great.
We're talking love.
Oh yeah, this great relationships that we love.
We were just joking how we have the one relationship is the gay guy amongst us, and the two hetero guys are the ones that hate love.
Going on 10 years.
Yeah, see, maybe it's just because guys kind of know,
Yeah.
I always joke around with that with other people, and you always tell me,
I'm not going there.
Hey, hey, if you other guys, but whatever. Anyway, Deadpool
so we're talking
2.
love. Yes, Deadpool.
So has anyone posted or anything like that?
No one's posted.
Huge character. He's also, I guess I could throw this. The actor plays Thanos as well.
Ooh.
So Josh Brolin plays Cable. Cable is a love child of two famous X-Men. Did you know that?
No.
Who are they?
Scott Summers and Jean Grey.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then, they have their love child and everything like that. And then he talks about in the distant future, that's when, the Sentinels and everything like that destroy all the mutants and everything like that. And he's one of the future X-Men that, they develop time travel and are able to kind of come back and forth and stuff like that. And so,
fascinating.
It's pretty cool.
Huh.
And so, just to talk about, hit on Jean Grey and Scott Summers, what are some of, when you think of, great, we'll think the positive side of the relationships and everything like that. What are some of the great relationships in comic books, pop culture, or anything like that are positive, good relationships? Some of the top ones that come to mind, obviously, Lois Lane, Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, and it's one of the oldest running, relationships that have been around the longest. I mean,
Steve Rogers, Peggy Carter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that is one. And there are different timelines. That's the thing is a lot of people got to understand is, these comic books have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's been around for a long time. He has so many different titles: Amazing, Spectacular, The Incredible Spider, The Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So there's all these different storylines. In each storyline, it's a different writer, different pen, so there's different kind of storylines of them. So, I mean, go off of Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter. There's a storyline where, Winter Soldier, his friend Bucky Barnes, does not die or become Winter Soldier. But as Steve Rogers freezes in ice, who does Peggy Carter... Who consoles her?
Yeah.
Bucky, his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And they eventually have a relationship. So Bucky and Peggy Carter have a relationship. When Steve comes unfrozen, they've got 4 kids. They're old together, everything like that. And so there's that aspect of it. There's also the other aspect of in the MCU, it's Sharon Carter, Peggy's niece.
Yeah.
And that is also a love interest. And I think it's fine. A lot of people are, that's gross. It's almost incestuous, or with the age difference and everything like that. I mean, I don't know. That's my thought. It's fine to me. But, that's another huge love interest, and that's I loved how they kind of touched on it in the MCU, that was pretty good. A couple other ones in the MCU that actually was not in the comics is the Hulk and Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
That has never been touched in the comic books.
Interesting.
So when it happened on screen, a lot of people were like, "Wait a minute, that didn't happen before." They were expecting it to be Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye and the Hulk.
The hot guy and the Hulk.
Yeah.
No, Black Widow and Hawkeye, because they had a history and everything like that, and but turns out he has a family, and that was his huge motivation. That was, and that's going to be his huge motivation in Endgame, is because I think something happens to his family, and he goes crazy, turns into Ronan, which is a different Ronan than Ronan the Destroyer, or the Ronan the Accuser, which actually he is also going to be in Captain Marvel, Ronan, that was in Guardians.
Okay.
Wow.
This is going to be a pre-Ronan from Guardians, but he'll be in the Captain Marvel. But it's just a name that Hawkeye took as Ronan, and he's more of an aggressive, killing assassin type person because his family, because the whole family dilemma and everything like that. And so he goes crazy. But the Hulk and Black Widow, they have more relations. Like, they can relate better to a lot of people. They both feel that they're monsters. And there's a lot of difference. And so on the screen, it kind of
that's also a really interesting, a really fascinating parallel to relationships where one part of the relationship has a particular, it might be, I don't like saying psychological disorder, but a particular weakness of some sort, damage of some sort, and how do you work with that, and how does that, how does someone cope with someone in the Hulk's case who has multiple personality disorder on a grand scale, and can a relationship like that work? I think there's some really fascinating things we can learn from these relationships.
Oh, huge. And that brings up a huge thing, because I mean that could tip your scales. That could be a huge benefit where you have someone that helps and that fits into that key piece that helps, either make that a huge positive for you and so that you're not have that weakness, or it could tip your scales and you can go into complete chaos. Look at like Joker, Harley Quinn type of relationship, where it's complete chaos. But you tip it. Say you have someone, Black Bolt and Medusa. Black Bolt is the leader of the Inhumans, but with his ability, he can't speak. If he utters a whisper, he can level a city with his voice. But he and Medusa, they have such a in-depth relationship that they have formed their own way to communicate with each other. So by her, she can express what he wants to get out across to other people. So by his weakness, she can use it to help others and everything like that. So they are a huge power couple.
Yeah, and so and being a power couple, let's think yin and yang. They complete their polarities that when put together create balance.
And and they're falling in love with each other because of their weaknesses, not in spite of their weaknesses.
Yeah. So so in this frame of mind that we're going to be talking about different relationships, there's two different ways, and there's a toxic when they're together, they're just horrible for each other together. And then there's the other types when they're together, they complete each other and make themselves a better whole because they're together. And a lot of that, one of the words we're probably going to repeat quite a bit today is codependency. And, these are, we don't have to be superheroes to have these issues in our relationships. And, when you have, is it possible to have a codependency and be in a healthy relationship?
No. I think the majority of issues we have in relationships are a result of codependency.
Yeah.
If there is an issue per se, if one partner perceives that there's an issue with the other partner, most often there's actually an issue with codependency on the partner that sees the issue with the other partner. The other partner might also be experiencing codependency of their own. I'm thinking of things like in a lot of relationships, and I'm not taking any judgments. It's not for the show, I don't think, but I'm not taking any judgment on whether porn is okay or not in a relationship. But there are a lot of relationships, especially here in Utah, where one partner consumes porn and the other partner sees it as evil what the other partner is doing. And in those cases, both partners are participating in codependency. One partner is obsessing over themselves, and the love for themselves over the porn of their partner. The partner consumed in porn is finding ways to mask something else that they could be sourcing themselves, and replacing that with porn in some way. And I'm not saying that there aren't ways that porn can fit into that. That's not for me to discuss, but it's
and not necessarily porn isn't the thing. So let's put it back in the comic powers. Instead of porn, we'll call it powers.
Yes.
And here's my thought. I mean, codependency, it could be a positive thing, but here's what it needs to entail. Communication. Communication it's got to be one of the biggest things in a relationship. And if I've learned anything out of my relationship with my ex and everything like that, is communication is by far the biggest thing in any relationship. I mean, if you wanted to talk about, if you have a weakness in something, if you communicate that with your partner and express that to them, they don't find it so taboo, where when something is taboo, that's when it's like, no, you shouldn't be doing it. But as long as there's communication, understanding, healthy boundaries and everything like that, that's when, there's more understanding and it's not so in the dark. And when there is communication and you're on the same page with each other because you communicate so well, then there aren't any secrets, there aren't any weaknesses, there aren't any of these flaws and stuff like that. Because when you have a secret is something that you don't want somebody to know about because it's something that you think you shouldn't be doing.
So let's compare this to the comic book universe. Are there examples of healthy relationships and are there examples of unhealthy relationships where perhaps in the unhealthy circumstance, one partner is consumed by another partner's flaws in some way, where the other partner may not see that their flaws are necessarily flaws, and maybe in the healthy relationship, they are loving each other in because of their flaws and working together and whatever. I'm not saying what's healthy and what's not. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a relationship expert here. But what are some examples in the comic universe of this that we can come up with?
I was just wanting to break.
Oh yeah. No, we are coming up on a break. We're coming up to the top of the hour, so
I want to explore that because there's a couple that I can think of, just off the top of my head of some little things like that. But let's go more onto that and stuff like that, and I'll come up with a couple pros and a couple cons of relationships, of different comic relationships, of who are healthy relationships as opposed to what is a toxic relationship. We can kind of go on to that.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about that because, and again, if you guys, you can't see the angle that I have, but he has 2 full pages of various different relationships through all the different comic universes.
These are just something I had to hurry and think of, just so I couldn't remember. Like on the spot, I can't think of the names as well, so I had to go through and write down some of these relationships. And some of these love triangles, actually, some of these that get pretty crazy.
I'm excited about that. So we're going to dive into that coming back at the top of the hour. We have 6 minutes. So we'll be 6 minutes after the top of the hour, after our national news break. You're listening to Comic Church on K-Talk, AM 1640. We'll be back. Hey there, comic book fans and believers in all things geekdom. This is Pastor Drew, the Fairy God Bro, and I just want to let you know that all of us here at Comic Church are working hard to build a place that we can all come to, a place of refuge, a place to be edified by the universes that inspire us the most. And this show, it's just the launching off point. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast, Church, using your favorite podcasting service. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. Also, please like our Facebook page, Church on K-Talk. On our page, you'll have a chance to interact with us live each Sunday. Plus, you'll have a chance to hear from us as we post our thoughts, inspirational somethings, and whatnots all throughout the week. We have so much in store for 2019 and into the future, and we invite you to come along and be a part of it. We at Comic Church know exactly how important fans are, and we thank you for taking a chance and being our fans.
Military life is rewarding, but it isn't always easy.
Managing the stress can affect even the strongest warrior.
But I will stay mission ready.
I will keep my mind and body fit.
Talk to my chaplain.
Seek care early.
Strive for progress, not perfection.
I got this.
I got this.
Take the first step. There's no better time than now.
Reaching out is a sign of strength. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
You're listening to the all-new K-Talk Media, KBJA 1640 AM, Sandy, Salt Lake, and the entire Wasatch Front, bringing you live, local, two-way talk.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Michael Harrington. The White House is not ruling out another government shutdown as negotiations over funding for President Trump's border wall hit a snag. In Sunday talk show appearances on NBC TV's Meet the Press and Fox News Sunday, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says, quote, "You absolutely cannot rule out the possibility that the government may shutter again on Friday." He says, however, that Mr. Trump is trying to make a deal. The U.S. economy, well into its 10th year of growth, still has spring in its step. And as correspondent Jeremy House reports, it's all the more visible when set against a tiring global picture.
A robust January jobs report shows that America's companies are, for now, brushing off an array of economic perils and still hiring at a brisk pace. Meanwhile, overseas growth is stumbling, led by weakness in China, the world's second-largest economy. Europe is hamstrung by a recession in Italy and the potential for an unruly Brexit. A trade war between the U.S. and China and higher U.S. mortgage rates, partly engineered by the Federal Reserve, remain threats.
Elsewhere, talks aimed at laying the groundwork for President Trump and Kim Jong-un's next summit continue.
The top U.S. envoy for North Korea was back in Seoul Saturday to brief South Korea's foreign minister and its chief nuclear envoy on 3 days of talks in Pyongyang. Stephen Biegun describes those meetings as productive, but adds we have some hard work to do before the second summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Vietnam's capital Hanoi at the end of February. The State Department says the two leaders will seek to advance the commitments they made at their first summit to complete denuclearization, transforming U.S.-North Korean relations, and building a lasting peace on the Korean peninsula. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Meanwhile, South Korea has inked a deal with the U.S. this morning to increase the amount of money it contributes to offset the cost of military presence on its soil by U.S. soldiers. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Have you ever seen a pest controller spraying chemicals in your home? It makes you wonder, if their chemicals are safe, then why do they suit up and wear respirators only to leave you to walk back in unprotected? G'day, I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free, and I'm here to tell you there's a better way. In an age where we now have the choice to drive electric cars, you too can electronically rid your home or business of unwanted rodents and pests. The answer is Plug-in Pest Free. 100% chemical-free, Plug-in Pest Free is your safest bet for your family and pets. Our bestseller, the Plug-in Pest Free Pro, will cover up to 4,000 square feet. Now that's fair dinkum. So order yours today at gopestfree.com. Use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off plus free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's gopestfree.com, promo code RADIO20. Don't spray and regret, plug in and forget. GoPestFree.com today.
Dr. Charles Schneiderman returns this weekend to honor a famous African-American medical researcher as part of Black History Month.
Charles R. Drew grew up in segregated Washington, D.C. in the early 1900s. He was an honor student at Amherst College, McGill Medical School, and Columbia University Graduate School. His research led to the blood banking system, which has saved millions of lives worldwide. He was also an athlete, coach, college president, husband, and father. Dr. Drew has many medical institutions, schools, streets, and parks named in his memory across the U.S. Charles Schneiderman in Washington.
A co-founder of the Friendly's restaurant chain and his wife are hoping to turn a replica of Thomas Jefferson's Monticello home into the centerpiece of a new educational and business center in Connecticut. S. Priestley Blake and his wife Helen had the nearly 10,000 square foot replica of the Virginia mansion built in 2014 in
I don't mean to brag, kid, but I'm a pretty healthy guy. Running a growing business means I'm always running. Not many can keep up with me. But you know who can? Grainger. When it comes to getting me the answers I need right when I need them, Grainger moves just as fast as I do. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're a good running partner, because no matter what problem I have or question, Grainger's got my back. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your car has some impressive technology. Direct fuel injection, GPS navigation, even seat warmers. And at Rain-X, we think your wiper blades should too. While traditional wiper blades can cause streaking from uneven pressure points, Rain-X's contoured blades hug your windshield, maintaining an even pressure distribution from end to end and providing a clean, smooth wipe. Don't settle for less. Pick up a pair of Rain-X blades today. Find Rain-X premium wiper blades at your nearest trusted retailer. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
return to Hour 2 of Comic Church on K-Talk, AM 1640. Real local two-way comic psycho spiritual talk. With your host, Drew the Fairy Godbro, the Reverend Sith Lord Jesse Stay, and the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. And now we return to the sanctum of spirituality, Comic Church.
Welcome back.
We're back.
Such a dramatic intro.
I was just saying, Drew sounds like Stan Lee in that intro.
I'll have that.
I'll
have
that'd
that.
be awesome, yeah.
Continue. Keep talking.
Oh, those breaks go by so quick.
They do. We have good conversations.
Yeah.
Sometimes in between the breaks, if you guys could only hear.
So
Well, actually, during the first break, you got a little bit of our commentary. I forgot to mute the microphones during the first hour. That was. Luckily, we didn't say anything too bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
we don't say anything bad.
We were just commenting on the commercial.
But yeah, so welcome back, Hour 2.
Hour 2.
We are having a Valentine's Day special where we are talking LOVE in the comic universe.
Love, relationships, whatever you want to think that word means to you.
And we're going to break down the different types of relationships and talk about whether they were helpful, co-creative for the characters that we're talking about, or they were destructive, codependent, and whether they interfered with their potential as superheroes.
Yeah.
So
what I was thinking we can do is I can toss out some relationships and some of those relationships that they had, and you can let me know, what do you think that, if you know them well enough, do you think that was a positive or a negative type of relationship? I mean, one of the ones that I've always looked at and I've always enjoyed, even as a kid, was Hulk.
Okay.
He has a huge love interest for Betty Ross. And they kind of touched it a little bit in the MCU with the whole Black Widow was able to calm him down. That was the one thing that kind of calmed him down.
She was his Betty.
She was his Betty, like in the comics. And that's always been something throughout the whole comic book. I mean, the Hulk's never really had... He's had he's had a few other relationships. He actually has had a son when he was on planet Sakaar. I mean, that was the whole thing. But with Betty Ross, that was his one little flower that he always used to be able to calm him down, that took him back to his happy place. And I've always looked at that as one of those good, positive, strong relationships where, using his partner as a positive role model for him, as a positive influence on him, because it was one thing that, if she was in danger, oh yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah.
But, she was the one thing that could also bring him back down to Bruce Banner to calm. So to me, that I've always thought of that as one of those good, positive.
Is it a good thing? Is it a healthy thing in a relationship to be the one who has to always bring the other one down to being calm, though?
Yeah, because that would be a codependency.
It is a codependency, but when you're looking at the Hulk, where as he gets angrier, he gets stronger. Mm-hmm.
But let me ask the question, though. What does the Hulk then equally provide to her? Because it seems like she's always having to sacrifice and suffer with his
Come on, as a kid,
temper.
I just thought, oh, that's sweet, But now you look at these aspects and be like, okay, so her whole life, she's got to have to okay, Hulk, I got to follow you around just so I can be the one to calm you down so you don't destroy Manhattan again or you don't do this. But
her existence
is huge...
she's his Valium.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's got to be some sort of love in there somewhere.
Let's compare that to the more modern one, where they're both basically superheroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are they co-creating together in the modern movies, where she's able to kind of be herself, and expand on her own? But she's also the yin to his yang.
Yeah.
Is that a more healthy relationship?
I think so. As you know, now that I can look at relationships and stuff, I think that is actually probably the better one. To go with Black Widow and Hulk. I mean, because there's even times where she forces it out. Hey, sorry, I need the other guy, and kicks him off a cliff. And so there are times,
herself, and she allows herself to be herself.
Yeah,
and no matter who he is.
So no matter what, they always have that positive relationship. I mean,
yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, you can have relationships where you have flaws, and each person has their flaws. The key is that you're able to be yourself and expand as yourself in your greatest capacity.
But I don't think that was truly a co-equal relationship. I mean, in the end of I'm trying to remember which was it, Civil War. He gets in the plane and flies off to the
he flew off. Well, he jumped in the Quinjet to kill Ultron.
Yeah,
to get Ultron, and then he sat in there.
Leaves her behind. She's
like,
she's
"Hey,
left,
buddy, you're gonna have to turn off the shields."
2-3 years. She's like, "I have no idea. I don't know if he's dead. I don't know if he's alive. What So she's left there suffering as he's off on the pleasure planet fighting and getting all that he wants. Yeah. So
all right. So
in the whole mentality of the Hulk though at the time, he wasn't
in
really
a complete relationship. I would have to categorize it as toxic.
Yeah. Hulk in all his relationships toxic.
Yeah,
he's got anger issues. What do you expect?
I think
it's not an equal.
At least for the people that date him, I think it's not healthy.
I want to give an example.
It's a good example of people that tend to enter into relationships that are toxic and can't leave them.
I want to give an example from the new Star Trek Discovery.
Okay,
and I like it because it's a gay relationship, but between the chief engineer Stamets and the chief medical officer Colbert, they're in a relationship and fully love each other. It's disgustingly cute. The scenes where they're brushing their teeth together and all that. But so they have that relationship, and you see that Hugh completes Stamets, who has a really egotistical personality, but then he gets softened. And so what you realize though is when Hugh, spoiler alert from first season, is killed by somebody pretending to be human who is a Klingon, snaps his neck. They go into the mirror universe, and Stamets meets his mirror version who never met Hugh and sees what his life lacked because he never had that, had never had Hugh in his life, and him being able to recognize how much of a better person he became because of that relationship. And
I love that Star Trek does that with a lot of relationships. They do that where, they have these relationships, but then something happens, but then they're able to go back and see what their life would have been like without that relationship. And it's like, oh, wait, as much bickering and whatever, the little things, this is how different my life would be without this person.
Yep. They grew each other. Each side grew equally to their greatest capacity.
Yep. And we don't know how he's going to do it, but somehow he gets him back. And it has something to do with the spore drive and quantum realities and being able to time something or another. They're going to break a rule, and he's going to bring his love back into existence. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And my other favorite part is they're both also characters from the original cast of Rent. And so it's basically like awesome. Rent in space.
That's cool. That's cool.
I love it.
Speaking of Rent, that was on live the other day. That
was semi-live. That was sad. I was sad.
Later.
That was sad.
Yeah.
So it was on Fox. So they recorded the dress rehearsal from the night before, and in the last 10 minutes of that dress rehearsal, the main character broke his ankle.
Oh,
and they didn't have an understudy. No understudy.
Wow.
He broke his ankle. So when it was supposed to be live, they played the tape version from the dress rehearsal, and then they cut in live for the last 10 minutes with him
just bringing Josh Groban.
Basically sitting on a table with his ankle all wrapped up in a cast and whatnot. But
I was disappointed Josh Groban didn't show up on that one. He'd be a part.
But So Star Trek Discovery is a great example of relationships.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And so what are? I mean, I think I'm very. It's good we're seeing like some good relationships. My mind's immediately going to Lois Lane and Superman Clark Kent. What about that one?
Well, in which version? Are we talking Lois and Clark? Dean Cain.
That's the thing is, there's so many different versions of that. There's the versions where she never knew he was Superman until later on when he finally, as Clark Kent, because she never liked Clark Kent. She liked Superman, but Clark Kent was in love with her, and he was Superman. It wasn't until
and the interesting thing about that is all the difference was a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
So was
they
she
do that
in love with
Lois and Kent?
Was she in love
Dean
with
Cain.
the person, or was she in
Love
at the soul
the
level, or
figure.
was she in love with his ego, like
and
the
was she
famous
good for
part?
him too, because she was not a superhero.
Oh, she was always getting in trouble.
Helped expand him. More. I mean, she brought in a level of humanity which he did not entirely have. So I don't know.
We'll touch on that, and I'll tell you, who I think is better for Superman. So with the Lois and Clark, I mean, there's the whole time that she never thought it was him. She never, until he told her, when he finally said, "Hey, we should get married. This is who I really am." Whatever. That was a little different aspect of it and everything like that. And that's when the whole relationship, that's where the communication, the honesty comes into it. Because if he would have just from the start, I understand why superheroes wear the mask to cover their identity, to cover their, the loved ones. But once she knew who he was, it was a better relationship. And so, I mean, there's even to the points in the old 52s where they are married, they even have a kid and everything like that. So, I mean, they do have that decent relationship once she understands who he is and stuff like that. And the whole Clark Kent part, that's where, because she never liked that side of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like Drew said, there's the who did she really love?
And if she truly loved him as the person, the glasses as a disguise wouldn't have worked.
But the thing is, too, is he was portraying something as Clark Kent. That's not truly.
No, he was portraying part of his ego.
The weak, the nerdy side, and everything like that. But
his insecurities.
He had to have those to be able to play off of them.
Yeah.
So,
I'm torn on this one because I mean, you have to me in some ways when the superhero is dating the non-superhero, you have two people in two different universes in many ways. And in relationships, I've never seen that work. If you have someone in an entirely different universe as the other, the person who is in the inferior universe, I hate saying that, but the person who's in the inferior universe ends up becoming an energy vampire. I'd like that term, of the person who is further along in their journey, and I tend to think that that's kind of what Lois was kind of doing to Superman. Superman had much greater capacity of growth, with the right.
She always held him back. Because he had so much more to offer, but
she held him back, but he also held her back by having that barrier of inauthenticity between them,
which is what happens when you are in a relationship with someone in a different universe.
So are we ruling Lois Clark toxic relationship?
Toxic. I mean that kind of makes me think though. I mean with the whole superhero and then the non-superhero relationships. A lot of those, like you said, none of them are really good. I do have one that's really good here, but one I wanted to mention with Superman is in the New 52, Superman and Wonder Woman. Now that is a huge power couple.
Yeah,
and they don't have the weaknesses, and they play off of each other. And he doesn't have to worry if she's getting, beat up or anything like that. She can handle her own.
Yeah. So they're equally yoked. To pull a Christian
and that one I played that one as
they can
a better couple,
be themselves as a couple.
Yeah,
and that's powerful.
That's a power couple. That's a better couple than the Lois and Clark. Yeah. Is the Wonder Woman and Superman, because I mean the only thing negative on that aspect is as the civilian side, as the people that are like, okay, now we're worried if they ever decide to turn on us. This is an extreme power couple. How are we going to stop them? That's the only thing. but that's not a negative to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's probably one of the better examples of
where you can co-create together,
a co-creative
from a place
power.
of being equally yoked,
yeah,
with one another.
Yeah. Real quick, one that works where he is a superhero and she is not is Linda Park and Wally West. Now, Linda Park is a journalist, and Wally West is obviously one of the Flash. He's got the Flash, and that works. They've always made that work and everything like that, and that's just one of those little relationships.
It does. We'll have to dig into that a little more. We'll be right back.
When the fake news stations are slick as ice this winter, cut through with K-Talk Media, your favorite local talk station.
When a challenge rises up, do we let it stand in our way or go the distance to overcome it? I didn't want to stay at the bottom, but after I was shot in Afghanistan, I was told I'd never walk again, if I even survived. My wife and healthcare providers were there to help me climb my hill. I learned that psychological care is key to recovery from both physical and invisible wounds. Decide now that I will take the first step. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
The weekend is coming, and you need to plan a date night. You could go to a movie and dinner, but there's nothing original about that. Here's a new and exciting idea. Take your date indoor shooting at the Armory Gun Range. Instead of renting a bowling lane or playing miniature golf, yay, you can rent a shooting lane at the Armory Gun Range. Impress your spouse or your date with your original plan. The Armory can provide both guns and ammo, and rookies are welcome.
I would be excited if my boyfriend took me shooting. The Armory is located in Sandy at 9210 South and 248 West. The phone number is 801-447-1789. Again, that is 801-447-1789. You can also check out their website at armoryshootingrange.com. The range is open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
The Armory Gun Range, blowing holes in boring date nights.
Hi, I'm Gary Sinise. Our veterans put everything on the line to protect our freedom. We may never be able to repay them for their sacrifice, but we can show them just how much we appreciate all they've done. Please visit www.volunteer.va.gov.
AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. No limits, no labels. Aging is changing. Visit aarp.org/UT for more information. Make the most of each day with AARP.
The Kubota L2501 tractor is one of the best-selling compact tractors in America for a reason. They're comfortable, spacious, easy to control, and have a range of performance-matched implements to tackle all kinds of jobs. Right now, get a Kubota L2501 with a 6-year warranty, plus 0% APR financing for up to 60 months, or great customer instant rebates. Now through December 31st, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Find a Kubota dealer near you at GoKubota.com.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to ComicChurch, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Welcome back. Yeah, so we had to cut right to break, but we were talking love and the different relationships in the superhero universe and whether they're toxic or co-creative and healthy. So before we left off, we were I guess we ruled Lois and Clark were toxic, but not necessarily bad toxic, but definitely not a healthy relationship.
No, because they couldn't become who they ultimately were or who they ultimately should be.
They can never be authentic.
They were
with
each
themselves.
Holding back because of who the others were.
Yeah, and keeping secrets.
There's a couple other ones. I mean, one of the oldest and best couples out there is Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm.
Okay.
And the beauty in that is one thing that I think that makes this one so good is they were a couple before had their powers, before they even, so they were, normal together. They had to experience this together and grow together through this, and they, helped each other through it, helped each other experience and powers, struggles, and everything like that. And they were so did it so well that eventually they've had kids.
Yeah.
And their kids, Franklin is, he's one of the more well-rounded, powerful, heroes right now, and he's kind of like their compass, for them. They had the whole family aspect of it. With the Thing and Johnny Storm, and them two married and everything like that. I think that's a great power couple, because they enhanced each other. They didn't hold each other back, and they worked with each other, and so I think that kind of helped make them a big power couple in relationships in the comics.
I think they're key elements in what makes a non-toxic relationship. I think number one is you're not trying to fix each other's flaws. You accept each other's flaws and work with each other in what you want to fix out of those flaws. Only wanting to fix the flaws that the other partner wants to fix.
Yeah.
Number two is co-creative energy, having the ability to be yourself as you are in the best state you are capable of being, your own infinite, beautiful you, and allowing the other individual to also be that own infinite, beautiful themselves that they want to be, and being able to do that together, just co-creatively without any expectation or anything. It kind of both rules kind of fall on each other. If you are doing that, you accept the other person for who they are. For if they see a particular problem, per se, I'm putting air quotes up, they don't see it as a problem, that's the them that they want to be, and if that's not co-creative enough for you and your universe, then it's an unhealthy relationship. So I think that's a really good example, though, from what you've described of what would be a healthy relationship, in that they were both co-creative. They weren't trying to fix each other's problems. I think to understand a healthy relationship, you have to look at the flaws of the couple as well, and are they trying to fix each other's flaws, or are they just accepting each other as who they are? Fixing your own flaws is different, and allowing the other person to work with you if they're willing, without forcing them. But yeah, it's I like that. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, and then with them, with the Fantastic Four, just to name some of the other relationships, the Thing had Alicia Masters, and that's kind of like a Betty Ross Hulk type of relationship. I can see the flaws in that, where he is always worried about her. She did have her handicap. She was a blind female. So there's that relationship. Johnny Storm, he got in a relationship with Crystal, which was Medusa from the Inhumans, younger sister. She was like a princess and royalty. They both had their powers, but they both had their flaws and everything like that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with flaws in a relationship.
No. As long as you go to the table and you're like, hey, this is what I got. But when you're hiding your flaws in your closet, you're not really letting yourself be who you are.
Yeah, and as long as I think the other part is you cannot have an energy vampire. But I really think the energy vampires happen when someone is trying to fix your own flaws, or you're trying to fix their flaws. That's when energy vampires happen.
I got a great energy vampire for you. Let's talk Batman.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's talk Batman. He's had multiple relationships. He's not as perfect as people think he is. So one of his
Some
huge
could see him
vampires,
as a quote narcissist,
as a Tony Stark, or yeah. So one of his huge vampires is Selena Kyle, Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
He's always trying to fix her. He's always trying to stop her. She's always getting into trouble and everything like that. And actually, recently, that was a huge thing in the comics in the past couple months. Is they just got married. But there's been other relationships. Natalia Al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, huge assassins and everything for the League of Shadows. Batman had a relationship with her, and ta-da! Here comes a son. So that's where one of the new Robins, Damian Wayne, has come from. Is from Natalia Al Ghul, and Batman's. Their flings that they had, and that's a huge negative. I mean, because here Batman thinks so positive. He fights for the people and the better good, and he's not into killing, and he's not into theft, but he keeps going with these women that are huge bank robbers, huge thieves, assassins, and all this stuff. So he doesn't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just because he grew up without mentors of what a relationship should be because his parents are gone.
There's an interesting psychological damage there that causes him to go after those types of women.
Yeah. Well, even
but let me ask this: in his relationships, is he trying to fix anything about their flaws, or is he accepting them and seeing them as beautiful in some way, and are they trying to fix him in some way?
Or is he addicted to getting hurt?
He's addicted to
there
trying
could
to
be
fix
a level
people.
of that as well, but at the moment he doesn't see that.
Yeah.
If he sees that, if that becomes his reality where he realizes that's the case, then it becomes a whole other issue that he's got to decide on. But if it's not hurting the relationship, is it a toxic relationship?
If when it's Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, that's a good relationship. But when it becomes the Batman and Catwoman, that's when it's a toxic relationship. Mm-hmm. Because he keeps trying to fix her. Stop doing your crime.
Yeah.
Stop doing your this. Stop being who you are and do
He's
what
trying
I
to
want
change
you
her
to do.
from who she is. Yeah.
The same thing with Al Ghul is she's an assassin. Hey, quit killing people. We're not trying to take over Gotham. We're trying to help Gotham. No, she wants to take over Gotham, and he wants to help Gotham.
Yeah.
So that it's not going to work. He finds those relationships, and then here's one that's kind of a bad part of the Batman, Bruce Wayne, is Barbara Gordon. Now she's in a relationship with Dick Grayson. Here she is, Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon's daughter, his long-term friend that he's had. One of his little mentors, Robins, is in a relationship with her. I mean, I don't know how much younger she is. 20 years, possibly more. And he goes in and he swoops in and steps in and says, hey, let's do some stuff from time to time. And eventually gets her pregnant, too. So
do some stuff you were...
Yeah, he wants to take off the utility belt.
Okay.
So... that kind of says a little bit about, his character as well.
Yeah.
So, he's got all sorts of vampires.
I don't know if that's necessarily an energy vampire, though. You can have relationships like that, too. Are those necessary? I mean, if he's hurting another human being, that's a whole different story.
That's where it comes in. He knew Dick Grayson and her were together and everything like that, and he just kind of steps in and says, hey... So
yeah,
I've never kind of understood why they wrote that into the storylines. And that was one thing that kind of ruined the whole Killing Joke storyline and everything like that, because he and her kind of stepped into it.
Yeah,
but
when one is hurting another human being in order to be in the relationship with the other, I think that draws a line.
I've always wondered if he was doing it maliciously or if he was just kind of doing it because she looked good in that cape.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really tell with that.
But a relationship like that could survive.
Yeah,
as
Bruce
well.
definitely has some damage that he needs to work out before he can probably have healthy relationships.
Yeah,
and maybe it's the whole Gotham City. Because then you fall into that whole let's talk Harley Quinn for a second. Now she's got, the Joker who he loves himself, and they couldn't find really someone that could even fall in love with him. I mean, he continuously tries to kill her, and then the next second he's trying to he loves her.
They're basically two psychopaths who have found each other.
They're crazy, but the thing is, she fell in love with him, and he is the one that he turned her crazy. She was his therapist, initially, and he ultimately mind screwed her enough,
gaslighting,
that he turned her
he's
psycho
the classic
as well.
narcissist. I mean, he's maybe even beyond that. He's a psychopath, narcissist, narcissistic personality disorder, and other things potentially as well. That he's gaslighting, causing her to doubt her own sanity to the point that she begins to go insane a little bit herself. I think that's classic of a lot of relationships out there, actually. Especially where you hear of abuse that's happened and such, usually one partner is the narcissist or the borderline, and there's just histrionic, there's even schizophrenia and other things that go into that scale. But you have one person, sometimes it can be both, but it's you have one person that is typically incapable of seeing flaw and in themselves or fixing themselves. That's why I say in some ways Batman's that way too, because he's unable to see his own flaws. But Batman doesn't seem to gaslight the way that the Joker does.
So we got 2 minutes before we come to our last break. So let's talk about some of the non-toxic ones. Let's look at some of the healthy relationships.
Some of the healthy relationships. Now here's another one through the DC is Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
Okay.
Now this comes from
Hawkman
ancient
and Hawkgirl.
Hawkman, Hawkgirl.
Oh, Hawkgirl. Okay.
Hawk. Yeah, they come from the. I mean, it takes the different storylines where
Hawkeye.
and Marvel, DC. It's hard to think of some of these names sometimes, but these two characters are from ancient times where are dependent on each other. If one dies off, they're going to be reincarnated, and the partner eventually needs to find them to, get their powers back and everything like that. It's almost like, I want to say that movie Hancock a couple years back with Will Smith.
Yeah,
is almost it's a similar thing, but how Hancock, when he and his spouse were together, they were weak. This is the opposite. So when Hawkman and Hawkgirl are together, they're stronger, and so they kind of depend on each other.
The superhero is the couple.
Yes, that's the kind of nice thing.
That's a powerful concept right there.
Yeah,
I like that right there.
And there's not many relationships like that in the comic books or anything like that. That where the two of them together. I mean, besides look at Wonder Woman, Superman right now.
The Incredibles.
That was on my list as well. The Incredibles as a team, as a group, Fantastic Four. I mean, as the whole together, they are stronger than as when they are apart.
I like to compare
alone.
it to an ecstatic experience. That if you are both experiencing an ecstatic experience of sorts, you don't have to do that through drugs, where you are literally thinking as one together and expanding as one. That is completely possible, and you can get better and better at it as a couple in a healthy relationship. And I really like that concept of the superpower is the couple. And what if our relationships were like that, where our superpower was a couple?
There can be only one,
or multiple people. Maybe it doesn't have to be just two, or maybe it's just us, but it's is one.
That's the Mormon religion.
Sorry, Mormons listening.
But it is having that dynamic of the the yin yang, the different polarities. Where
I'm getting a tattoo with a yin yang on it this Saturday.
Nice.
But creating that balance, that co-creative balance, like that is the ultimate desire, dream of healthy relationships, where you are so perfectly matched for each other that you create a perfect force when combined. And I think that's a great example. But we're headed to break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this in our last segment, about some of the healthy examples. So you're listening to Comic Church on K-Talk, AM 1640, real local two-way talk, and we'll be back right after this. Hey there, comic book fans and believers in all things geekdom. This is Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro, and I just want to let you know that all of us here at Comic Church are working hard to build a place that we can all come to, a place of refuge, a place to be edified by the universes that inspire us the most. And this show, it's just the launching off point. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast, Church, using your favorite podcasting service. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. Also, please like our Facebook page, Church on K-Talk. On our page, you'll have a chance to interact with us live each Sunday. Plus, you'll have a chance to hear from us as we post our thoughts, inspirational somethings, and whatnots all throughout the week. We have so much in store for 2019 and into the future, and we invite you to come along and be a part of it. We at Comic Church know exactly how important fans are, and we thank you for taking a chance and being our fans.
Military life is rewarding, but it isn't always easy.
Managing the stress can affect even the strongest warrior.
But I will stay mission ready.
I will keep my mind and body fit.
Talk to my chaplain.
Seek care early.
Strive for progress, not perfection.
I got this.
I got this. Take the first step. There's no better time than now.
Reaching out is a sign of strength. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
You're listening to the all-new K-Talk Media, KBJA 1640 AM, Sandy, Salt Lake, and the entire Wasatch Front, bringing you live local two-way talk.
The essence of sales is transferring enthusiasm to the customer. K-Talk Media is looking for people who have an unabashed enthusiasm for live local radio and who would love to share the message of our station with businesses who would like to tap into our large, loyal audience. Do you want a fun, energetic, and rewarding position with a company that makes a difference? Then join our team and feel the love. Full, part-time, or anytime positions available with great compensation. Call us today, 801-253-4883, 801-253-4883, or go to ktalkmedia.com and shoot us a message.
Stay away from religious topics, not here on K-Talk. Listen each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. to The Interpreter Show for fascinating religious discussions, hot debates, and the latest in religious scholarship, archaeology, and ancient documents. Whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, agnostic, and atheist, or something else, you'll want to listen to The Interpreter Show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. here on K-Talk. You gotta hear it.
I am a veteran. I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory was finding the help I needed. Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
When it's cold outside, warm up with the hottest live local two-way talk. K-Talk Media, 1640 AM.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Welcome back for the final segment of Comic Church.
Ooh. That's come by pretty quick.
It has. We've been having a good conversation, just breaking down the different types of relationships, what's toxic, what's not, and
that's the thing. There's so many different ways to go about this. I mean, when I was thinking about this last week, I'm like, you know, we can go on bizarre. There's some bizarre relationships that have gone out there. I mean, to say like Scarlet Witch and the Vision, they have touched on that in the MCU, and they eventually get married, and they're actually Disney, when they do their Disney app and everything like that, if they want to sponsor us, that'd be great. they're making a Vision Scarlet Witch miniseries.
Oh, nice!
And it's going to be Olsen, and it's going to be Paul Bettany, and they're going to be in it. And
I've heard there's also going to be
a couple of them. There's a Loki.
Loki, yeah.
I'm excited for that because Tom Hiddleston is going to do it.
Yeah.
And
that's what's great about this universe thing is they're crossing over between movie and TV. Same thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Where it's still an essential part in telling the story of the universe.
And I think it's cool how they've held off.
Yeah.
And they're pushing off because right now
and they have
everything is so
Agents
in the
of
air.
S.H.I.E.L.D.'s going to return this summer, and we have to wait till this summer. It's normally a fall series.
And if you follow it at all, Coulson's going to be back and everything like that.
But he's going to be bad.
Yeah. So is he going to be a Skrull?
I don't know.
I need to watch this.
So yeah, I'm excited.
I honestly
need to get
think
back into it again.
With Captain Marvel, it got good when they brought in the Ghost Rider and stuff like that.
Wow.
It got really good.
I started seeing right when they brought in Ghost Rider, and
But I'm really curious with this Captain Marvel movie. I'm curious to see where that's going to bring things because the whole it's bringing in the Skrulls.
Yeah.
So you will be very familiar with the Skrulls and the whole shape-shifting ability.
And Coulson's been described now as the cockroach of the Marvel Universe.
You
just because we left when we left,
and he's in Captain Marvel.
So when we left, he was he and Agent May went to the beach island Tahiti to which is usually
it's a magical
die.
place.
It's a magical place, but he was dying, and that's where we left, and then. Thanos did his little snap thing, and
Skrull
we
universe.
got a hold.
It's either gonna throw people off, and that's what's gonna be hardest because there's a lot of, the civilian side of people that are like they can't wrap their head around this. If this was how comic books, some of these characters that are in these movies now would be Skrulls.
Yeah,
and it would piss people off. Like, wait a minute, this whole time. Captain America's a Skrull, or Quicksilver was a Skrull, or these people. And
so, for those that don't know, what is a Skrull?
A Skrull is an alien shapeshifter.
Okay.
So they can shapeshift and take the abilities, take the powers, to an extent of the people. So what in the comics they did a secret invasion where they came down and they took over half of the Marvel cinematic.
Basically, the Borg.
Yes, yeah, in a sense. And they went and trapped them in their ships in space and came down and took over that person's persona.
Okay.
And to a T, to where their friends, their teammates had no idea. And until they were trying to take over the world, the Earth. And so I'm curious to see where that's going to go, especially going right after into Endgame. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go into Phase 4.
So I have a question, kind of getting back on the relationship thing. Are there examples? I tend to like to think that you don't need a relationship. I mean, where you don't have to have a relationship. Are there examples in the comic universe where a single individual is as powerful, just being single their entire lives as any power couple in the comic book universe is? We could go into other things like polyamorous relationships.
That's kind of where I was leaning into.
And, transgender, like Thor and such. But I'd like to get into just the individual though, because I think that's a really powerful concept as is for our audience.
The individual, going to what top of my mind was like Deadpool. Someone like that where, he'll go around and fool around with anything, but the thing is,
he just is.
He is, and when he is himself, I mean,
even
granted, in the movie and everything like that, he has a relationship, and that was a lot of his motivation. But in the comic books and stuff like that, he has that ability. He has those powers and everything like that. And then it's when he has an interest, that's when he kind of gets weaker and be like, oh wait, I want this. Instead, if he's just doing his own thing, his assassin, that's who he is. That's what he is. That's where his strength is. He doesn't have to worry about anybody else. He doesn't have to worry about any of that. Same thing like
he's a great example of that, where the
Doctor
relationships
Strange
distract him from being himself.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange is a huge one.
But he's also in love with himself, so that relationship works.
Well, when he is in love with himself, he doesn't need anybody else.
Yeah.
And so it makes him
that is
stronger.
Zen.
Yeah.
That is what.
There's nothing wrong with being in love with yourself.
No. And so as himself, he.
Well, there is kind of some. For that person, there's nothing wrong with it. But for everyone that has to endure it, there is something wrong with it.
Has to be around him, and
so
you're so full of yourself. And there's a lot of that.
I like, though, and we talked about it a little bit on the break, and I think it's a perfect wrap-up relationship that we could wrap up this whole entire show with. But that's Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that I like that makes their relationship endure is she fell in love with him before he got his powers. And his power, she fell in love with the goodness of him, which was the basis of his power as well.
She fell in love with the man,
yeah,
not the soldier, the superhero, because she knew him. She was one of the ones that interviewed him and brought him in to the doctor, and she had to talk to him, and he told her all of his, hey, I want one woman. I want to stand up for the guys. I want to stand up for the little people.
Here's all my scars. There's where I got beat up, and
this is also where I got beat up. That's where I got beat up, and I want to have that one last dance, and that's where. I think going into this movie with, I'm not going to spoil anything that I think, but, I really hope he gets that last dance. And I think that that's going to be kind of that tear moment when we say goodbye or, to some of these Avengers is when
because that's also been the heartbreak moment in the relationship.
Throughout this MCU.
From the very beginning. Yeah, that heartbreak has been hanging over their love relationship that now spans generations.
When she passed away, that was the one thing that was kind of like the flag, like, hey, we're all fighting and everything right now, but hold on, flag.
Yeah.
Let's go to this mutual funeral. Let's, I needed to be here for my friend, and that was their mutual thing, and because of his love for her, and I really think, and the thing is that it's an undying. How many years and everything like that, and he, that was one of the first things he says when he wakes up at the end of the Avengers the first Avenger, Captain America is, I missed the dance. I missed it, and so that relationship, there's not many
and then
like
you see
that.
In the series of Peggy Carter in the 2 seasons, her continued hurt and pain for that
he's gone,
unfulfilled love.
And there's other guys that are sitting there saying, oh, yeah, you're here just because of him. No, she's here because she worked her butt off to get there.
Yeah.
It wasn't because she was relying on him or anything like that. So she wasn't dependent upon him to get to where she was. And into the position that she, as one of the directors of S.H.I.E.L.D., she got there because she was a strong woman that knew what she was doing, knew what she wanted. And it just so happened along the way, here comes Steve Rogers, this little shrimp of a guy that has strong beliefs and morals and everything like that, gets this opportunity of a lifetime to become this soldier that can actually portray and do what he believes is right. And so the relationship that they had before, the whole superhero thing and everything like that is really where a lot of that key came into it. And that talks about a lot of some of the other relationships that we think that are positive, with the Sue Storm and Mr. Fantastic, is they had that relationship before, so they went through it together. Same thing with Captain America. They were building that relationship before, and they went through all those trials and everything together. And on the outside, they kind of overcame it and still had that relationship.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, a key for a lot of other relationships and stuff like that, is being able to get through things, loving each other before, and helping each other through it, and not being totally dependent on what the other person has to offer.
I think, I mean, I know in going through therapy in my own divorce and such, one of the things we used to talk about was the idea of I mean, relationships change. Every single relationship changes.
Yeah.
My therapist was like, I'm surprised any relationship lasts. And he said, and I think that's key, is that the fact of the matter is, whether we're marrying a superhero or someone who's completely crazy,
or if we think they're a superhero in our eyes,
or we think they're a superhero in our eyes, they're going to have flaws. We're going to have flaws, and things are going to happen. Things are going to change throughout the relationship. The key is what happens and how do we handle that when it happens. Are we willing to be an allowance of those things, or are we going to try to change them?
Yeah.
And that's where toxicity comes in, or health comes into the relationship, as to how you handle that.
And learning to recognize them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this has been a very interesting conversation to put, our first loves, comic books, and all these, and to talk about and recognize the different relationships, and ooh, that's toxic. Ooh, he's not really respecting or listening to his partner in that, or and being able to see that, and then put that into our lives, as to what we want, and what we see, what we should be looking for. And
there's so much more. I mean, we scratched this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more.
I think we should.
You can delve into.
I think we should have more of this conversation.
There's a lot we could talk about.
We could bring in a little bit. If there's something else, if there's an idea or a thought that you have on this, please feel free to comment. We can look into this and kind of maybe dissect this a little bit more next time that we get together and talk more about these relationships and the toxicity, and just not all of them are good. Some of them are bad. Some of them.
And I'm going to be getting my kids superhero Valentine's cards this Valentine's for my kids here, because
definitely
has a whole new meaning for me now.
So next week we're going to have our regular church, and then the following week we're going to be talking Russian Doll.
Next week we're going to talk a little bit on trauma.
Nice.
Maybe.
You're listening to Comic.Church on K-Talk. We'll see you next week.
Thanks. Enough said.
Hey there, comic book fans and believers in all things geekdom. This is Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro, and I just want to let you know that all of us here at Comic.Church are working hard to build a place that we can all come to, a place of refuge, a place to be edified by the universes that inspire us the most. And this show, it's just the launching off point. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast, Church, using your favorite podcasting service. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. Also, please like our Facebook page, Church on K-Talk. On our page, you'll have a chance to interact with us live each Sunday. Plus, you'll have a chance to hear from us as we post our thoughts, inspirational somethings, and whatnots all throughout the week. We have so much in store for 2019 and into the future, and we invite you to come along and be a part of it. We at Comic.Church know exactly how important fans are, and we thank you for taking a chance and being our fans.
Military life is rewarding, but it isn't always easy.
Managing the stress can affect even the strongest warrior.
But I will stay mission ready.
I will keep my mind and body fit.
Talk to my chaplain.
Seek care early. Strive for progress, not perfection.
I got this.
I got this.
Take the first step. There's no better time than now.
Reaching out is a sign of strength. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
I am a veteran. I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory was finding the help I needed. Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.